Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie. Steph. I am the dyer behind Blackbird Sycamore yarns. I'm at Blackbird _Sycamore _ yarn on Instagram. My Etsy shop is Blackbird Sycamore yarn. So anyway, I'm here today with another podcast I'm going to try. Hopefully this time it'll go better. If you're a returning viewer, that's kind of funny because I've only put out like one podcast so far. But if you have hung in with me this long, thank you very much. That first one was it was a trial, even just for me to try and sit through. I didn't know that the camera was auto-focusing and the focus was going in and out, so it was like really bad. And also, I was sitting in a dark room. It seems well lit when you're here, but the lights are on either side. There was no like forward-facing light. So I was holding up things and saying, look at what I made in a dark room with dark yarn. And I realized that was probably not the best viewing experience for most of the people. So here I am. It is November 14th. It's Sunday. It's my niece's birthday, and my birthday's in 2 days. So that's pretty cool. What do I have to show you? I have three finished objects this time. Not as much as I would like to have, but one of them is a very extensive, it was a large project with a lot of knitting. So up first, let's just dive into it. Up first, I have the DK Weight Socks by Crazy Sock Lady was the pattern for this. The yarn was called Nighthawks, and it was by A Chick That Knitz. Knitz is with a Z. Her name's Tammy. I bought this quite a while back, and I did not use it. At first I thought, oh, it's a great yarn. I love it. And then when I got it, I just didn't know what to do with it. It did use up the entire skein for this. This is for my husband, and he wears probably a size 9.5 men's shoe. He does not have very big feet for a man, not like my son and his size 11 shoes. So this knit up really fast. I did not enjoy this toe. The contrast, it was just scraps of Patton's Croy. I want to say it was like the Gentry colorway or something. That sounds right. It's just a plain gray, but it is thicker than the other yarn, and that made the toe very thick. I really didn't enjoy knitting these, even though it did go really fast. I don't like knitting a tight gauge, and this is, you have to kind of maintain a tight gauge. It's holding two strands together makes it DK on like a size 3 needle, so to me that's quite a tight gauge. I really didn't like that. It seemed like I would knit a few rows and then I'd just want to break from it because it was just kind of trying for my hands more than a regular sock would be. It did knit up very fast, and they are thick and warm, and they fit him. I had him try them on. I think he's forgotten about them though, because I wouldn't let him wear them until after I got him on film. And hopefully I can just sneak him into his Christmas stocking. Put stockings in the stocking. That's my plan this year, I guess. So that's project number 1. Here, I did finish both of them so you can see them. This is project number 2. These knit up so fast, and I love them. They are so bright and wonderful. I just couldn't get enough of this hot pink yarn. This was a scrap in my little scrap basket. I have one of those folding little cloth baskets with the wooden frame that your grandmother probably has. So this was called Heartpunch was the colorway, and it was by Woolen Boon. That's a mouthful. I tried to look her up because I was like, I want more. She has this great color. If I could get another I don't know, hundred skeins of this. Oh my gosh, I love that color. Um, but it doesn't look like she's dying anymore, and her, even places that did carry her yarn, it's just like they're down to the dregs of what's left in stock in their shops. So that's sad, because I really, I cannot get enough of this pinky orangey red, and it's just so bright and vibrant. I love it. Let's see. The purple is called Branwen, and of course I can't remember the name of it. Um, and it's on my Ravelry page though. I'll link that. It's just a very dark purple. It's just lovely. And this the main color is from Gem State Yarns. It's called April Showers, and they sent me this cute little star stitch marker with it. I thought that was pretty cool. It's cute. It's a fingering weight. It's a 70/30 though. It feels the same as a 75/25. I really didn't notice any difference. I see it next to this bright, and it's perfect, and I cannot complain. These are just so vibrant and beautiful, and then the gray tones it down and makes it just wonderful. The pattern here, you can't really see it. There's 3 rows of these little crosses or stars. I made up this pattern. I'm going to call it Oh My Stars. It fits. And right now, this is just like the first mock-up of it. And I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just a basic sock with some color work, which is also very simple. But that gray was kind of a dud in the middle row. You can't really see it very well. And so that's project number 2. Stay tuned. Maybe soon you'll be able to download that pattern. I don't know if I ever get around to it. Let's see. Project 3, finished object 3, is, of course, the Shawlography. I guess if you don't want to have any spoilers, don't look away, pause the video. I'll put a timestamp down below, and so you know where to fast forward to, and you can pick up there if you don't want spoilers. I'm pretty sure everyone who has any social media whatsoever or goes to a knitting store or anything has probably seen it, because we're all finishing now. All the clues are out, and there's so many beautiful ones out there, and I'm just amazed at how different these shawls always look in other people's colorways. And I'm covering up the microphone. So, you know, my colors look one way, other people's look completely different, just based on what colors they chose. So, let's see. Without further ado, here we are. If I can get it. Held out here far enough. Let's see if we can stand up maybe. This is just absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love these colors together. These are all my colors from my shop. They're the Blackbird Sycamore yarns on the 75/25 sock weight base, merino nylon. And the colors, we'll just use this edge piece because they're all there. The colors are, my color A is this greeny seafoam green. It is called Calm. Color B is this purple, dark purple. It is called Caput Mortuum. And it's, you know, that's a fun name. As far as like how paints are mixed and made, the actual pigments, how they exhaust the pigments that's where I got that name from, Caput Mortuum. My color C is this light peachy beige peach color. It is called Look to the East. And I just called it that because I had been watching on repeat, you know how you do, Lord of the Rings, and the scene when they're is it Helm's Deep? Where Gandalf says, look for my coming on the 5th day, look to the east at dawn. So that's where that name came from. I just thought it was cool. I'm trying to be all fancy and poetic here. Color, so that's color C. Color D is the yellowish. It's not really yellow. It's called Harvest Moon. It's got like a gray cast to it in places, so it tones down how yellow it is. And then my last color is Cinnamon, which is this brown. It's like an orangey brown, very, very speckled and variegated. But I think it plays out as solid enough in this that it works. It worked for me. I love it. I loved the pattern. I have qualms about this. What is this? I've heard them called cheese doodles. I've heard them called shrimps. These little I-cord loops. I have a lot of qualms about this gap because there's literally one loop holding my entire top half to this bottom half, and that's a lot of strain on, you know, or there's just this one strand of the purple that goes through. It makes me very nervous. I guess, you know, I don't really wear these shawls that much, even though I should. I mostly just make them because I enjoy the process of making things. But I guess if I, you know, continue to be concerned, I could always just, you know, pick up on the back side and knit some garter and then tack it, you know, do like a 3-needle bind off along the back so that that gap is filled. I feel a lot better about like this large gap with the crosses because there's multiple strands holding it. But, you know, we're thinking structural integrity here. This is going to fall apart. This bridge is not going to stand in a storm. It's not a bridge. It's not weight bearing. Anyway, so that's that. What else can I say about this shawl? The only thing I would do differently as far as knitting it is when I knit mine, I was very concerned that the bobbles wouldn't stay on the front side of the fabric, so I knit them tight. So this one row, the rest of it's so stretchy and has so much give. I mean, and then this one row just, it's not going nowhere. So it's like very taut, and I wish I did relaxed a little bit, not been so concerned about it, and made sure that I was extra careful on the triangles to carry my floats and leave them long enough so it would stretch. But the bobbles, I apparently didn't. But that's the Shawlography shawl. I brought this middle section. A lot of people commented that this section before the welts was really fun to knit, and a lot of people liked that. And when I was knitting it, it was like second nature because earlier this year I had knit this, which is his botanic shawl. It's really big. And it is literally so many stitches and then a slip stitch to create these vertical lines. And it just grows and grows and grows until you get to the end and do some garter. I think it's garter. No, it's not. It's kind of gartery. This border, and then you bind off with an I-cord bind off. It's a wonderful, easy pattern. It looks complicated, but once I figured out that after the cast on, I had cast on at the top of the triangle. Once I figured out that that's where I was starting as the cast on, then it was easy. Just keep growing until it was wide enough. The yarns on this were Shibui sock, which I don't think they make anymore. It's 100% merino. So that's the gray. It's like a very soft bluey gray. The other color is Zauberball Crazy, and I don't know what the actual name is. It translates to Anniversary Party, the name of this colorway. And it took like 1.5 balls of each. I think that's right. Last year I did this, the Slipstravaganza, and it was so enjoyable. That's what I had to do it this year. I was looking forward to it all summer and all until right up till October 1st to be able to do it this year. But this is Slipstravaganza from last year. This is also knit in Blackbird Sycamore yarn. I have some of each colorway. The main color here was called Exuberant. Very bright neon yellow, but with a greenish cast. All of my neons are not, or fluorescents, are not straight the color, because you can get straight neon yellow or straight neon green anywhere. But this is partway in between, and I love it. That's one of my favorite colors. The other color, the orangey, that's just so bright here, this is called Elated. So you're excited. You're exuberant and elated. It's happiness and excitement, which is what this whole project and this whole shawl felt like the whole time. I was just so happy. Let's see. The purple is called Daring, and it is fuchsia, bright, hot pinks, and like all the way down into an inky purple. And I love how it plays on this shawl. It's not solid at all, and it still worked out beautifully. And then this last little bit of blue, the blue here, is called Luminous. This one's been reskeined, so it's kind of hard to tell. If my skeins get tangled, because I do handle them a lot in the dyeing process, I, mostly, like if I dip dye something, it'll go in and out of the dye bath 2, 3, 4 times sometimes. And then if I had sprinkles or speckles or splashes, then that goes into another pan. And then I fully wash all of my skeins until I'm fairly confident that there's no dye leaking out. I will leave them soak if I have to, as long as it needs. I use soap when I wash them and rinse them afterwards. I was talking about, these are the 4 colors. They're in the shop if you want some. I have minis of the 2 tonals in the shop too. And if you ever want some, I can dye them. I have a recipe. It's not a one shot and you're done thing where you have to grab it when it's there. All of my yarns are pretty much repeatable colorways. If I can't hit it, then I don't really list it. I just put it as one of a kind. Slipstravaganza it called for 2 skeins of your main color and 1 skein of the 3 contrast colors, coordinating colors. So 2 of the yellow and 1 of the other 3 colors. So I thought, oh no, this is a 5 skein shawl. But the thing about Stephen West shawls that they don't really explain is it's a 5 skein shawl, but it's really like a 3 skein shawl. You just need 5 colors. So you end up with a lot of leftovers. And like last year's, I ended up with, well, that doesn't even look like a sock without a blocker on it. Ooh, that one's been worn to death. So this is Luminous, knit up, and Exuberant for the heels, toes, and cuffs, and very worn, but I still like them. So I had a pair of socks there and a pair of contrasts. Then I had Elated. Ugh, come on, you. Elated was another color, the sock that I managed to make. Also been worn. I've probably worn these socks 100 times in the last year. Okay, that's an exaggeration. At least once a week for a year. These are my favorite socks. That's probably one of my favorite colors. So this sock, the blue socks, and then I had some more of the they're sticking together. Some more of the Exuberant for heels, toes, and cuffs on this. The main yarn, the striping yarn, isn't mine though. It's from Pretty Twisted Yarns. Her name's Teresa, and she's in Florida. She makes these beautiful, just awesome self-striping colorways, and um, it just it's not a perfect match. Like her neon, her fluorescent yellow is definitely yellow, and then mine's covered in lint. I just pulled them out of the laundry basket. Um, so they're clean, but they're still furry. Um, but the exuberant, it doesn't match perfectly, but it's so bright. Who's gonna complain? It's just worked out perfectly, and this yarn is just the her base for this was called Lush, and it is luscious. It is just the best yarn. It even smelled good when it came. So that's pretty awesome. Uh, those were all just leftovers. I still have, scraps of each color still floating around in my scrap basket. So I have like 30 to 40 to 50 grams of each of the 5 colors from this year's Knitalong too that I get to keep for my scraps. Let's see. The last part of this. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't show you all my new projects, my cast-ons. So, sorry about that noise. My first cast-on, work in progress, is in my project bag. This is a project bag I made last year. I used it all last winter until it, was obviously spring and no longer seasonally appropriate. But I got this fabric and I just love it. It's got the deer and the little tiny cardinals sitting in the trees and the glitter, and it reminds me of my grandmother because she always kept all the Christmas cards and would put like a little clothesline and hang them all up on display, and sometimes the really good ones got displayed more than 1 year. So there were tons of Christmas cards up, but the ones that always got the like prime display area were the ones with glitter on them, like the glittery snow, and that's why I love this bag, because it's got the glittery snow and the beautiful deer, and it looks just like one of those old Christmas cards. This one has I had put strapping for the handles that I just found somewhere. And it's got a front pocket. Woo. I carry mine as like an everyday tote bag. I keep my notions on these. They don't have an inside pocket, so I just keep my notions in my notions pouch. And then I don't worry about that. The front pocket is like a purse with all my keys and stuff. So anyway, this cast on is not very far along. It's another version of the Oh My Stars socks pattern that I'm working up. It's got Knit Picks Essential Gold Kettle Hand Dyed yarn, which is like Knit Pick Swish. It's an old name for Knit Pick Swish. It's the kettle dyed. It is just gold, and I had already made a pair of cabled socks for one of the kids earlier this year, and it's just what I had left over. So that's the heels and cuffs and the color work, and then the main color is the leftover of Blue Barn fibers. It's a BFL superwash base in the colorway Banana Breakfast, and they're on Etsy. I had used these in my Halloween socks, the jack-o'-lantern socks that I had made in the last podcast. I just figured, let's go gold. That's kind of seasonally appropriate in the fall, although it's not really fall here anymore. It's stick season now. I had gone out and wanted to podcast. I thought, we're in this beautiful state with all this beautiful scenery. I'll take you out in nature and podcast there. And we have 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts now. So all the leaves are gone. They're in Nebraska. They have blown all the way, or they're stuck in your yards. We're growing a lot of plastic bags and stuff. They're just getting stuck in all the trees and fences. That's lovely. That's one thing about living in Wyoming is we have constant wind. Anytime the sun nears the horizon, sun up or sundown, the wind picks up, and then you get days where it's coming over the mountains, and it's bringing us weather. And today there was actually, on the side of the road, on the side of the highway was, gusts up to 40 miles an hour, caution. And so that's just a thing we deal with here. You don't do your hair on days like this. You don't try and do anything, because you're just gonna, if you put makeup on it, it also blows to Nebraska. Everything, you leave stuff in your yard, Nebraska. Just drive east, you'll find it. So my next cast on whip is, don't read any of this. Don't read any instructions. It's the Exploration Station by Stephen West, because I bought like 4 Stephen West patterns last year as a gift to myself, and I figured I might as well use them. So his picture here is, he even matched his hair to his shawl. I mean, that's dedication. You gotta love Stephen West. But this is like, it's been done. Everybody's done their own version of it. I just used the same colors. I had bought these 2 colors from Lofty Loops Yarns. Is her label still in here? Yes. Lofty Loops Yarns. Here's her label. I don't know if you'll be able to see it up here. Her name's Allison, and she's in Lincoln, Nebraska. She probably has, my garbage can that blew down the block. That's a terrible joke. Anyway, Allison, I've been watching her podcast for quite a while now. She is so nice, and she has such beautiful yarn. She does subtle speckles like nobody else. And these 2 colorways came out last summer, I think? And I had to get them. So, the pink here is called Thirst Quencher. And it was like a picture of, I think it was like grapefruit, like pink lemonade. And it was just beautiful. And then this one's called Pomelo. So it's a peachy color with speckles. Both of them have a little bit of greenish speckling. This one, the peach, has more yellow into it. And it's so beautiful. It's like tonal, subtle. I love it. And her base is an 80-20, but for a shawl, I think that's perfect. It's so soft. Yes, I'm a yarn sniffer. Yarn sniffers unite. The third color here, let me hold this up so you can see what I'm talking about. See, I'm terrible at this so far. So the pink and the peach are from Lofty Loops. This white is just my Nanook color in the shop. It's cheaper than the rest because it has no dye. I just wash the yarn and put it in a skein. I wash it to make sure there's no chemicals, because a lot of the undyed bear yarns are treated to be able to absorb dye. They already have something on them. And I don't want you having to hold that while you're knitting. So they're washed and dried just like all the other yarns. And so that's Nanook. And this blue-gray, it's like a very dark gray with a bluish cast to it. It's called Storm Chaser. It was a Cloudborn, where are you, labels? Cloudborn Fibers, Highland Superwash Sock Twist. No, it's called Stormy Skies. Anyway, it was a clearance from Yarn Webs. It was a clearance item there. So I bought like 4 different colorways from there for heels, toes, and cuffs, but then I realized it's, it's an 80-20. It's the bumply one that I really don't like for socks, but it works great for everything else, for shawls. So I figured I'd put it in this because I was trying, once I realized these two colors, I couldn't find any other project to put them. I didn't want to keep them. I didn't want to separate them. They go too well together. And I realized those match perfectly with the ones in his picture. So I said, I'll just try and match it. So that was the closest I could come. I have a couple of grays and like a black, a tonal gray black in my shop that I was thinking of using, but the gray was just not quite, one wasn't dark enough and one just, neither one of them was quite dark enough. And then the black, it would have worked fine, but this also worked. And I'm trying to use my stash up. Don't buy more yarn. Anyway, so this is cast on number 2. I've got 2 whips, 3 finished objects. I guess that's it for that, for the knitting end of things. The last thing I have to show you is the yarn in the shop. I mean, I think I was trying to count it, I had like 40 or 50 colorways now. Who knew? And I try to keep like 1 to 2 skeins of everything on hand on the sock base, ready to ship if people need more or they want it on a different base. They can just, all they have to do is message me and I'll just throw it in with the next time I'm dyeing. And I usually dye at least once a week, if not more. If somebody asks, I'll just make time to dye it for them, because I really enjoy dyeing. That's why I started this. I didn't start it as a business. I started it as a fun hobby that I enjoy. And then I wanted to share it with everybody because I got really excited about how awesome some of these colors turned out. So I have added, in the last month, I've added a few new colorways. Starting with Professor. It's brown, brown, gray, black, almost black speckles with these maroon, burgundy sprinkles all throughout, and it is just gorgeous. I kind of, every time I make a new color, I want to steal one for myself, but that's not good business, so I have to wait. Also, then I'd be overwhelmed because I already have too much yarn to ever knit in a lifetime. So I have Professor, which is kind of a Christmas color, but it's very subtle. One coordinate for it is Cleric. It is a dark maroon red with like a wash over it to tone it down. That goes great with the Academic, which has been very popular. So the Academic is a tan to brown color, off-white, tan, brown, and then it's got green and red and brown and black speckles. So it's all of the colors. This is a great Christmas tone. I also have the Academic. I put some, because it was kind of popular, I put some on worsted weight. This is 100% superwash wool, worsted weight. Oh, I guess I could tell you what's in it. 400, nope, that's sock weight. Okay, I'm going to show you it on 2 different sock weights. There it is. Here's the worsted one. The worst, because I was really excited to show you, I brought 2. The worsted weight one is 220 yards for 100 grams. And each one of these takes those speckles completely different. That red, both the red and the green are very strong dyes, so just depending on like the tiniest amount, I'll get a different result. Like this one's very light compared to this one's very dark. But I kind of like that it's always a little different, it's ever changing. I like how the organic end of yarn dyeing happens, like when your colors split with the acid, and I like experimenting with that. Anyway, what other color? We also have, with the Cleric, we have Paper, which is a beigey one, and Scrivener, which I think I showed last time, which is dark green with like a dark wash over it to tone it down. So the Christmas colors are not in your face, oh my gosh, red and green. They're toned down, dark foresty green, dark cranberry, hollyberry red instead of obnoxious bright. Um, and I really like them. I also brought one. I don't know why I did this. I brought brass because it kind of goes in there. It's gold. Um, all of these colors go so well together. I think that you could make anything you wanted for any holiday, for any time. I also dyed up some more. This is the colorway that I released around Christmas last year, or was it the year before? It's not really meant to be a Christmas color, but obviously red and green. It's actually based on bromeliads and like tropical forest. The red flower and the waxy red, green, bright green foliage. Like at the botanical gardens, when I go there, they have bromeliads, and I always think they're so beautiful and bright. But it's got all these beautiful, little bit of gold, little bit of turquoise in there. Some places where the red and the green meet, it makes purples, and I just love this colorway. So I dyed up more of it on the sock weight in case somebody decides they want some. It did sell out. I had put a little bit more in for this year, and it sold, so I'll try and keep some of that in. I also dyed up, restocked a couple more skeins of Shire, which is another, it's a Hobbit, Lord of the Rings reference. So the Shire is where the hobbits live, if you didn't already know. My basket is shedding onto my yarn. So it's very, very green, little splashes of blue, little splashes of golden sunshine, different colors of green, and I love this one. I made socks out of this one for myself because, you know, I was being stingy. I wanted some selfish knitting. Most of the socks I make are for me because everybody else has bigger feet than me. Also, I stocked up some more worsted weight. A couple more colorways were patina because that's been popular in the sock weight, and inky, which is one of the more popular. It's just tonal, can't even talk, tonal navy blue, and then patina, which is speckled with, it's an aqua, turquoise, little bit greenish, speckled with gold and brown and darker blue, like navy. I think these two go great together. I think they're beautiful. But these are also in stock in worsted weight, 100% superwash, 220 yards. And I also wanted to tell everyone that if you don't want worsted and you don't want sock weight and you need a DK weight, I have DK weight in the shop. I try and keep a little bit if anybody wants some. I haven't like made any ready to ship yet, but this DK weight, oh my gosh, it looks bigger than the worsted weight just because it's so floofy. It is also 100% superwash merino. It's merino. It's so soft, and it's got a lovely ply to it. This I can also dye, you know, special order dye for anybody in any of the repeatable colorways. I would love to just make a whole bunch of tonals of this and do like a color work for myself. It seems like a lot of color work sweaters are DK weight, so that's kind of why I bought it, because I want to be able to have it for me. So if you need some DK, let me know, because I'll make you some in any of the colors. So I guess check out the shop. I'm trying to keep it stocked up with all sorts of colors. If there's something there you see but you don't have it on the right base or you don't have enough of it, let me know. I can make it for you. I'm happy to do that. Right now I'm trying to, you know, get through some tough times after this surgery business and being out of work all summer. I'm trying to, the shop has actually come in handy to be able to help keep us afloat. It's been different. I'm back to work now. I'm doing pretty well, I think. I still feel kind of useless because I can't lift more than 50 pounds, and I can't like run around as much as I used to. But all the girls at work have been wonderful, just watching out for me, watching my back, reminding me not to lift. Don't lift that. Don't do that. Slow down. They're watching my back because they don't want me to get hurt again. And they missed me, so that's kind of reassuring that somebody missed me when I was gone. So I'm back to work. Everything seems to be going well. I'm still, building back up into having the endurance for everything, but I think I'm doing well. Um, I guess that's it. I'm gonna try and add in some footage of my day at the park. I went to North Crow Reservoir. I had meant to do this podcast out there because it's beautiful scenery, and I had the perfect spot, and it was going to be the most wonderful thing, and then you would be able to experience our natural habitat here and what it's like, because we do have a lot of beautiful places here in Wyoming that I would like to share with you, but 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts made it a little difficult to try and do anything. I had to stick the tripod in a gorse bush to hold it down because it kept blowing over, and then it still kept blowing over, so I had to thank God I had my knitting with me. I had to use some of the leftover gold yarn, because it wasn't attached. I used some of that and tied rocks to the side, hanging down to weight it down. And it still kept blowing over. I ended up pinning it between the car door and the car so that it wasn't getting blown. So I'll try and put in some photos or footage from that, just so you can see the shawls. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed some of this. I apologize for any of the interruptions, the terrible editing, the bad sound.